The First Dalek War, often referred to as the 2150s Dalek invasion of Earth, was the first major Dalek incursion into human space in recorded history. Taking place at the end of the Daleks' expansionist period, from the Daleks' point of view, the majority of the First Dalek War was conducted as part of Project Degravitate, a plot to turn Earth into a huge mobile weapon to use against the rest of the universe. The Daleks' invasion of Earth was foreshadowed in the early Dalek comics, in which the Dalek Emperor targeted Earth after a spree of invasions of other planets and conflicts with other species. The Emperor sent the Black Dalek leader and his fleet to occupy Earth, and they arrived sometime in the 2150s and bombarded Earth with meteorites containing deadly plagues that caused chaos on Earth and paved the way for the Dalek occupation. The Daleks conducted simultaneous attacks on almost all the human colony worlds at the time, so Earth could expect no assistance and soon fell to the Daleks. The population was enslaved, forced to work in mines or production plants, and the best and brightest of humanity were surgically altered to become Robomen, brainwashed enforcers for the Daleks whose minds were destroyed while their bodies were puppeteered to serve the Dalek cause. Flora and fauna from Skaro was transported to Earth, such as Varga plants and slither monsters, and the cities of Earth were left abandoned and crumbling as the few survivors fled underground or to the countryside. Small resistance cells existed all over the planet, but between the Robomen, the Scarosian life and the Daleks themselves, Earth was for all intents and purposes completely annexed by the Daleks, and humanity became their slaves. The Daleks rounded up all Earth politicians, celebrities and authority figures and exterminated them, while simultaneously installing propaganda beacons across populated centres to encourage the survivors to come out of hiding and accept Dalek rule. Some major cities like Paris or New York were totally destroyed, while others like London were simply occupied by the Daleks, so that the residents could be rounded up to be sent down the mines. A key Dalek mining operation located in Bedfordshire was the centre of a planned Dalek stratagem that involved installing a massive engine into Earth's crust, allowing it to be flown across the galaxy as a massive Dalek invasion force. The Doctor was involved with the First Dalek War on several occasions. The Sixth Doctor and Peri landed on Earth in 2163, and while they stopped the Black Dalek from releasing a Varga plant virus and defeated the Roboman elite, they could do no more to prevent the invasion because the Doctor knew that the liberation of Earth at the end of the First Dalek War would actually take place in 2167, as his first incarnation landed there with Susan, Ian and Barbara, and helped the local resistance overthrow the Dalek regime, killing the Supreme Dalek's pet Slither monster, aiding the resistance in developing anti-Dalek weapons and tactics, and turning the Robomen against the Daleks in a final revolution to liberate the planet from Dalek tyranny. The First Doctor, Ian and Barbara soon left Earth, but Susan was left behind to aid in humanity's reconstruction. Remnants of the Dalek occupation force still littered the planet, and there was a monumental recovery operation in place as humanity slowly re-established its governments and attempted to rebuild after the tragedy of the previous decade. Overall, 2/3 of Earth's population had died, its biosphere and ecosystems had been ravaged, anti-alien xenophobia had become commonplace in the population, and the political and economic geography of the planet had been turned on its head. Formerly prosperous nations that had stood for centuries were now radioactive ash and wastelands. Cities that had previously been bustling with life and activity stood as crumbling tombs even decades after the invasion. Many of Earth's surviving colonies were cut off and forced to fend for themselves. New conflicts between different human factions arose, and while much had been lost, many new and unexpected changes to human society occurred as a result of the conflict. For the Daleks, the aftermath of the First Dalek War was a disaster that ended their early expansionist era and briefly halted the steamrolling juggernaut of their war machine from claiming the entirety of the Milky Way galaxy. The revolution on Earth prompted similar outbreaks of resistance on many other worlds, first in the former human colony worlds and then on similar conquered worlds across the galaxy. Realising that they had spread themselves too thin, the Daleks withdrew many of their forces to reinforce their borders, leading to the liberation of many planets. The Black Dalek leader returned to the Emperor in disgrace, and the Emperor decided that more subtle tactics would be needed in future campaigns, giving a small group of time-travelling Daleks the task of finding and exterminating the Doctor, while also paving the way for the Daleks' later use of paid mercenaries like Ogrons or Troopers instead of mind-controlled Robomen. In the late 2180s, there was a second Dalek invasion of Earth conducted by the Dalek Time Controller, who, with the assistance of the Monk, wanted to transform Earth into a plague planet that could be transported through time and space to infect worlds with any of the viruses from the Amethyst Research Facility. As a result, humanity suffered terrible plagues and a brutal Dalek occupation, while the Monk was offered the chance to plunder all of Earth's artifacts and treasures if he aided the Time Controller with its temporal machinations. However, the Eighth Doctor and Susan were able to put a stop to these plans and liberate infiltrate Earth once again, albeit at the cost of the Doctor's companion Lucy Miller and Susan's son, Alex Campbell, the Doctor's great-grandson, who both sacrificed themselves to derail the Time Controller's scheme. And with that, the First Dalek War was finally over. Following the war, humanity went on to expand its influence once again, recontacting many of its old colonies and extending its influence further into the galaxy, creating the first great and bountiful human empire, developing relations with other spacefaring species and forming alliances designed to halt any future attempts by the Daleks to assault human space. This proved to be a wise move, as the Daleks would later attempt to invade human space again during the 25th century, sparking the outbreak of the Second Dalek War. What do you think of the First Dalek War? Have you seen the Dalek invasion of Earth or listened to Lucy Miller and to the Death? Are there any other books, comics or audios detailing events from the First Dalek War that weren't mentioned in this video? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bumps.